Hello Wanderers and welcome back to our Crusader Kings 3 roleplay series following Clan Stjarna. And as we begin this episode, we find ourselves in the waning years of King Styrkar's reign. King Styrkar has had an eventful life. He has fought his way from being in exile from his own clan after the tragedy that befell them at the hands of Rurik the Troublemaker. And having achieved his vengeance upon that family, he sought to live a more quiet life, and yet that unfortunately was not the case, for as even when he did find love with Queen Aurea, he unfortunately had that taken away from him. And now, several years after that time, he looks to the next generation and what that will mean for Bjarmaland, for Clan Stjarna, for the future. And he turns inwards, looking into the things that have always brought him the most interest, and that is the supernatural, the magic of the world, wondering what lays after death for himself. But the world goes on while King Styrkar leaves it behind slowly but surely. And Bjarmaland is a large and powerful kingdom, perhaps one of the most powerful in this region, certainly next to Sweden. It is the most strongest of the Norse kingdoms. Denmark, an honorable mention there. But we are fairly isolated here, and there's not much to be done other than seek out what the rest of the world has to offer. Now we do of course have our children, Styrbjorn with many children of his own, Styrkar's grandchildren, eldest of which is Rikulfir, who apparently needs a spouse, so why don't we just take care of that while we're looking here. This young Russian lass, perhaps, could be an option. Take a quick look, see if there's anybody with traits. Lithuanian. There are certainly a few options here. It could be good to get some extra traits into our lineage here. I think, she seems like a good option. Athletic, pretty. Yeah, let's arrange a marriage there for Rikulfir. There we are. And of course we have many other sons. Styrbjorn being the most like Styrkar. Frothy, as you will remember, is the berserker barbarian Norseman who is also a lunatic. So if for some reason we decide to play as this character afterwards, that should create some interesting story beats, I imagine. Eirikr, of course, is the cunning and money-mongering one of the family. And then we have our two youngest, Sitorthi, who is the son of our late wife, Queen Aurea, who comes from the Basque lineage, so has some very notable siblings, including the former king of Aquitaine. And then last but not least, our youngest daughter, Irati, our only daughter, who our wife died giving childbirth to. So, as was pointed out, it would be interesting to get a Basque teacher to teach Satorthi and Irati the Basque language. So we are going to raise up everybody as raiders here. And we are going to do that. So as you can see, Styrkar is quite old by this point, 69 years of age, which is a nice ripe old age, but I don't know how much longer he has. He could literally go at any point during this episode, so this could be a short episode, depending on how much Styrkar's got left in. Hopefully he'll live a good long time, but we shall see. And of course, we do not want to forget our fifth son from another mother and another father, Chieftain Vasilko, the secret son of our enemy Rurik, who we raised as our own, and who is an interesting prospect for storytelling in the future. You guys all know the story of Chieftain Vasilko. I don't think we need to go over it at this point. But he will be leading the raiders who will be heading here to Basque Country in order to see if we can find us a good teacher for our children. While that's going on, we shall hold court. Let us hear the petitioners. Styrkar in his old age will no doubt listen with wisdom here. A frightful peasant strolls all too close before a guard steps between us. Ooh, he backs off with a wink, laughing through scant teeth. Your lordness, I've come here from Kolmuggery with a matter of great import. His eyebrows undulate. That's an interesting image. You see, King, our bowyer has been carrying off with the brewer's wife's sister's cousin, and the whole village is in uproar. And this since 7 moons back, or 'twere at 8. He strokes his chin. You are a fool, my fool. Go on, common touch. How did this man get in? I think we will listen to his concerns. It seems like a minor matter, but Styrkar in his age has learned to see all the different aspects of his kingdom by this point. As soon as it is her turn to speak, the agitated woman in front of me screams, "The end is nigh! The signs are clear and everywhere. The people of the chiefdom of Salinas know it all too well. Crops failing, grasshoppers invading the fields, never-ending cold, floods, and the plague walking among us. Ragnarok is upon us. There's only one way for us to be saved. Purify your heart by purifying your body. Salvation can't be reached with a heavy belly. Repent now, for the end is nigh." Salvation must be achieved through any means. Wise Nigveva, teach me your ways. Is she actually better than our current counselor? Let's, She technically is. You know what? If she knows of Ragnarok, then we should certainly listen, I would imagine. An unusual case has reached my court. 2 women claim that a baby boy is theirs. This should be obvious, but none of the villagers can stand as witnesses, saying that it's as if the child appeared out of thin air. No one knew that the women were expecting or adopting, nothing. The mystery has captivated the people. Oh, I'm just looking at the options there. And while we may never know how this all happened, I must resolve this conundrum. What decision should I make for the future of the child? I don't This mystery child. I think that I think we're gonna raise the child as our own. I think that Styrkar sees signs in a lot of different things, and the idea that this child appeared out of nowhere and now has been brought to his court, I think he would see this as certainly a sign from the gods. So yeah, we will raise this boy as our own. He may not be our natural born son, but but he is our son in name, at least. My business here is done. As if the potential options for the next character were not already enough. We now have Vigfus, Styrkar's son Stjarna. So, well, let's see how that turns out. Ransom. Yeah, I don't see why we wouldn't take this. One of the Chudians. We'll accept all these ransoms for the children's here. Karyalainen? Yeah, I think we can accept that. The Karyalainens are no longer a threat to us. And we need the money to invest into our kingdom for the future. Speaking of which, why don't we construct a few different buildings here for our future children's holdings. We have the prestige and we have the money, so I dare say, why not? Get some war camps so they have enough troops to raise should the situation call for it. Can call Ingmar to trial, but I'm pretty sure that's just because he slept with somebody in our court. Can designate a guardian for Irati. Oh yeah, how about this person here? Frothi's wife. Why not? Hiring a court physician seems like a good idea as well. Do we have any? No, we don't have any good options. Just gonna take all those ransoms so that we can afford to search for a physician here. Hopefully we'll get a good one. We're gonna be splitting our titles up amongst quite a few children, but that's okay. I think Styrkar would want it that way. This world is full of dangers, even to a king and his courts. As per my request, my servants have inquired after recommendations. Now they have assembled a few options to choose from. Who do we have here? Ketmundir? Very good skills. This guy's a lunatic. Or Eliva, miracle worker. I do like me a miracle worker. Alternative medicine. Yeah, we're going to go with the naturopathy option here. Because I think that's only fitting for Styrkar. Let's just continue to ransom all the prisoners here. Except for you. So there was a minor rebellion in between episodes. We put it down pretty quickly, but it was this woman who rose up in rebellion. So I think that she will stay in the dungeon for now. Courtier scorned. Why would you honor that doxy, Leva, the position at court and not me? This is our son, Styrbjorn Oakenfoot. He does deserve a position very well. We will make him the High Almoner, a position of responsibility for our son. Alright, so it looks like we've finished our raid here. I think we will move into Navarra, because we didn't pick up any prisoners, it doesn't look like. So hopefully we'll be able to capture some there. We do have a new option to choose here. I think we're gonna go with you know what, let's see if we can. I don't think we're gonna get all the way to Sculler, but we might as well continue down this tree and see where that leads us for the future. So let's, yeah, just continue with these raids here. Oh, we can commission an artifact. What can we, she wants to forge a brooch. Who are you? Yeah, I suppose we could afford that. Why not? Plus you'll be a good courtier. Let's arrange for a marriage to someone here in our court. Maybe to the giant Yadni. Yeah, there you go. Hopefully you two will do well together and create some giant children who can serve in our armies in the future. We captured this young man. Unfortunately, he is too young to be a tutor for our children, but perhaps he can grow up to be one in the future. So Torthy seems to be having a difficult time at our latest feast. If you have better things to do, then do those instead. That seems like fine enough advice, I imagine. So we want to raid Basqueland, so we'll probably just kind of raid in here and just hope that we capture a good prisoner. This is a pretty big kingdom, but they don't have a lot of troops, so I'm not too afraid to raid into their lands. Losing quite a few troops to attrition, but the purpose of this is really just to capture a tutor and obviously some treasure for our lands. I'm not gonna take attrition unnecessarily if we don't have to, though. Hopefully we'll be able to capture some prisoners. Oh, okay, are you? No, you're not Baranis, but you are oh, yeah, so you do not speak Basque, unfortunately. Time disappears in Bjork's shop, drinking mead as we excitedly discuss the brew she is making for me. Am I imagining things, or is there an indescribable tension? The hour has grown late when my metalsmith puts down her mold, takes a deep quaff from her goblet, and smiles at me knowingly. Is she... I can't deny something stirs in me. My heart quickens, and I find myself holding her in my arms as she embraces me in return. What is happening? I mean... At first I would have said that Styrkar probably wouldn't have done this, but through the way that this thing has set it up, it seems like it's kind of like been spurred upon him. So let's see, you know, Styrkar, he's had a few drinks, he's lonely. Perhaps he looks for a little bit of comfort in these years, and Bjorg apparently is willing to offer. So, very well, Styrkar. Take what comfort you can in these years of your life. So, still... Oh. Well, I suppose it was bound to happen. So we're gonna pause it here. Because, that obviously has, a lot to go over here, as we have witnessed the final days of Styrkar, King of Bjarmaland. May he rest in peace with the gods, the Norse gods, and the Uko-Nusko gods. Does he go to Valhalla, or does he go to somewhere else? We do not know. But he has left a legacy, and quite a legacy he has left indeed. He was a great man. We cannot deny. But he was also a cruel man who sought revenge against his enemy and did not hold back in any way from getting that vengeance. He had a mixed legacy. Will he be seen as a hero? A villain? I suppose that depends on who you ask. But as his son, King Styrbjorn, takes over, there are a few questions left unanswered, because even though Styrbjorn is in fact now the king of Bjarmaland, that does not mean that he is the character that we will be playing next. No, like we did with the Drango campaign, I will be leaving it up to you all to decide who our next character is, and we will have a few options. Now, we're going to go over those options here so that you guys can all have a good idea of what each of those choices means, so you can make an informed decision. Now, first up, obviously, there is the choice of playing as King Styrbjorn Oakenfoot, the true heir of Styrkar in more ways than one. He has inherited, obviously, the albino trait, so he looks the most like Styrkar, but he also takes after him in other ways as well. Ambitious, patient, he is a schemer, intelligent. He is a man who is very much like his father. And if we choose to play as King Styrbjorn, I think that we will be continuing that legacy, the legacy focused here in Bjarmaland, to try to continue to slowly but surely expand our kingdom, focusing on the Nordvina culture, which is slowly spreading in these lands. Very cool to see. Potentially, there is a chance to switch from Asatru to Uko-Nusko and eventually reform the Uko-Nusko religion into something of a hybrid between the two. That is something we could look at in the future as well. But it will be a very much Bjarmaland focused campaign. So we won't be straying too far out of these regions. Very much a religion and culture focused campaign. Next up, of course, we have the option of playing as Jarl Frothi II of Ustiuk, taking up the Jarldom of his namesake, Styrkar's old friend Frothi. Jarl Frothi is the great warrior, the berserker, the hard-drinking Norseman of the family. He's gone a little bit insane. He's probably ripped too many people's heads off, but can you really blame the man? He just loves his battle and he loves his drink. Now, if we were to play as Jarl Frothi, I think that this would be a very much a martial-minded campaign. He's not necessarily in it to become super powerful or to own vast swaths of land. This would be a very much a raiding-focused campaign. Perhaps we would do some raids here in the Isles, potentially doing a Varangian conquest and taking some land here and kind of continuing the building a new Danelaw, which has definitely not gone as well as it could have here. I could see that in the future, so perhaps a conquest of the Isles filled with tons of raiding, tons of battling, and just in general a very war-focused war and raiding-focused campaign. Then, of course, we have Jarl Eirikr, the third son of Styrkar, who is the cunning and calculated one. He is now the Jarl of Karelia, an interesting little bit of land kind of on the border between various parts of Bjarmaland. If we were to play as Jarl Eirikr, I think that this could go one of two ways. One, it would be something of a kind of very development focused campaign, trying to build up tons of money to build up this region, doing trade, exploring. Or I could also see him doing a Varangian conquest, but instead heading south, because he seems like the type of person who would be intrigued by things like the Byzantines and the more cultured regions of the world. I could see him trying to move in here, maybe even to Bulgaria or something like that, and trying to forge his own little land and maybe eventually kind of becoming part of the Byzantine Empire. Could be interesting to see what Eirikr does. He's probably the most ambitious of all the sons. Ambitious, just, but fickle. Who knows which way Eirikr would go. I see him as a little bit, for those of you who watch Vikings, I could see him as a bit of an Ivar type character, kind of underhanded, but has his own ambitions and goals. That's kind of what I see Eirikr as. And then our fourth son, Jarl Setorthi, Styrkar's son of Chudia, obviously our son by Oria, who has some interesting, potentially some of the most interesting options here, as he does have claims on the kingdom of Navarra through his mother. Could he grow up to be a great warrior who goes off in search of faraway lands to take his claim on these lands of his birth? We shall see. That would be very intriguing. I would be curious to see how that would go. But I don't think that he is the most intriguing of Styrkar's sons necessarily. And no, I am not talking about Chieftain Vigfús, who unfortunately I will not be putting as one of our options. There's not enough known about him. He has kind of an interesting backstory, but I think we'll see how that plays out in the background. No, you all know that I am talking about Chieftain Vasilko, the son of Rurik, who has yet to learn of his true parentage, but he certainly shall. And when he learns that it was Styrkar who murdered his father in front of him as a form of revenge, well, that would be a very interesting story to see play out. And we would be doing it from a position of relative weakness, potentially having to work our way up through the Stjarna clan to get revenge in return for the vengeance that we were part of. I would be very excited to see how that would play out. He's got some interesting traits: ambitious, paranoid, greedy. He's a skilled tactician, an aspiring blade master, a berserker himself. He is quick. He also has a few children of his own, of course. And interestingly enough, he is married to the daughter of Chieftain Styrkar's second greatest enemy, Grettir the Foolish. So that is a pairing made for revenge. So yes, Chieftain Vasilko will definitely be a option Now, that would put us in a different dynasty, but even though I start these episodes off by saying that this is our clan Stjarna playthrough, I don't think that it necessarily is. I feel like this has always been Styrkar's story. It's been focused on Styrkar himself, the tale that we've told with this character, and I don't necessarily think that the story needs to continue through any of his direct children. I think this episode kind of brings an entire tale to its close, and we have seen the end of a story from start to finish, and what may come in the future, well, that is going to be up to you to decide. As always, I do want to thank all the people who support on Patreon. I do appreciate it, of course, and if you want to join the Patreon as well, there are some interesting perks. You can have characters added into the series. You can get yourself a custom coat of arms, various other perks. Do not feel obligated, but if you are interested, there will be a link in the description below, along with a link to the Discord. As always, I have been Stray. You have all been absolutely wonderful, and we will see you in the next episode. Rest in peace, Styrkar.